Continue with Federalist 78, Part 5. This is paragraph 19. But it is not with a view to infractions of the Constitution only that the independence of the judges may be an essential safeguard against the effects of occasional ill humors in the society. These sometimes extend to no farther than to the injury of the private rights of particular classes of citizens by unjust and partial laws. Here also the firmness of the judicial magistracy is of vast importance in mitigating the severity and confining the operation of such laws. It not only serves to moderate the immediate mischiefs of those which may have been passed, but it operates as a check upon the legislative body in passing them, who, perceiving that obstacles to the success of an iniquitous intention are to be expected from the scruples of the courts, are in a manner compelled by the very motives of the injustice they meditate to qualify their attempts. So basically he's saying that what this does is actually discourages the legislative branch from passing laws that they know are going to be nullified by the courts. So once they get the idea, then they will not just keep on passing bad laws just to say that, hey, we're here, we're doing our job, we're passing laws. They'll know that the law that's going to pass is just going to it's not going to be acceptable to the Supreme Court or federal judges. So they'll think about it twice before passing a law. This is a circumstance calculated to have more influence upon the character of our government than but few may be aware of. The benefits of the integrity and moderation of judiciary have already been felt in more states than one. He says in several of the states here in the United States, in New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, we've seen cases where the judges have said that this law that the state legislature has passed is not constitutional. And one of the first references, according to J.R. Pohl, the editor of one of these Federalists I showed you, says one of the first ever references to the word unconstitutional was done in 1766 in a Virginia court decision. So Hamilton here is referring that we've seen this idea of judicial review in a few of our states, and we see what a moderating and positive effect it has on the legislatures, because they know that it's better for them to think about laws before passing them. Considerate men of every description ought to prize whatever will tend to beget or more fortify that temper in the courts, as no man can be sure that he may not be tomorrow the victim of a spirit of injustice by which he may be a gainer today. So we want to make sure that people know the laws are written so well, and they've got so much integrity, and judges have so much integrity that they know that actually we want the representatives to know that if by writing laws right now that will have its effect on people these days, in the near future, it will apply to them too. And they'll be more thoughtful about passing laws that would be detrimental to people's happiness. And every man must now feel that an inevitable tendency of such a spirit is to sap the foundations of public and private confidence, and to introduce in its stead universal distrust and distress. So again, another good thing about having an independent judiciary is that it stops from silly laws being written, because what happens is if people will look and see that their legislatures or the legislature in the federal government will not pass bad laws on and on and on, because this way they'll just lose their confidence in the government. And judiciary being independent and nullifying some of these laws forces the legislatures not to put out bad laws, and then that by itself will give people more confidence in their government. The next paragraph, that inflexible and uniform adherence to the rights of the Constitution and of individuals, which we perceive to be indispensable in the courts of justice, can certainly not be expected from judges who hold their offices by temporary commission. Periodical appointments, however regulated or by whomsoever made, would in some way or other be fatal to their necessary independence. If the power of making them was committed either to the executive or legislature, there would be a danger of improper complaisance to the branch which possessed it. If to both, there would be an unwillingness to hazard the displeasure of either. If to the people or to persons chosen by them for special purposes, there would be too great a disposition to consult popularity to justify reliance, then nothing would be consulted by the Constitution and the laws. So again, the way that he says in this Constitution, we have arranged for these judges to be elected and for them to stay independent, guarantees that they will not be played by the legislature and the passions in the community. They will not be toys in the hands of either branch of the legislature, because we want them to be independent. We want them to be able to tell the legislature, no, the law you've written is not constitutional and it will not go into effect. This idea of judicial review, of judges nullifying certain acts, according to some scholars, goes all the way back to 1610 in a famous case in England called Dr. Bonham's case. Sir Edward Coke, it's spelled Coke, C-O-K-E, but it's pronounced Cook. He was the Chief Justice of the King's Bench and had declared in famous but controversial words, and I'm quoting from J.R. Pohl's edition of the Federalist, that if an act of Parliament was against common right and reason, or repugnant, or impossible to be performed, the common law would control such an act and declare it to be void. So in 1610 was the first time that this idea of judicial review was actually mentioned in Britain. And I think I better stop here and finish the last two paragraphs in part 6.